journalists as entrepreneurs, the next step.
And then there are journalists as entrepreneurs.
As you might well know.
Yeah.
I had an interesting experience along these lines, which I think suggests what you're saying. I went to the Overseas Press Club luncheon a couple of weeks ago where they give out a scholarship to 10 or 12 young people who want to be journalists, whatever that is to become. And I would say that virtually all 12 of them, if I think about what they said, did not have an expectation of the kind of world that you and I lived in. They had an expectation of a much more entrepreneurial-like world. And whether they meant entrepreneurial in a business sense, that they were actually going to have to somehow be creating businesses, or more likely for many of them, they simply meant it as an existence where from project to project, from story to story, through their lives, they would be finding ways to do their work. And every one of them was doing that at this point. Now, that's a lot easier to do when you're 23 and don't have family obligations or anything else. But they were, in effect, not one of them was at the point of the scholarships actually employed by any kind of a news organization. Several of them had been and had actually left those positions. They saw the scholarships not as educational tools, but as part of the way they were going to put together packages of funding to do some journalistic project they wanted to do, which they would then find a newspaper or a website or some combination of that to produce. And I do suspect that the future will be much more like that than the past has been, although I also believe that there are going to be some of these major news organizations, including the AP and NPR and probably the New York Times, that will adapt